This message is from the Getto Free Press, George Boston Rhines, and this is a direct appeal to the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, a well-established newspaper in the state of Georgia, located in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, you all should know about the work that I have done with voter suppression, voter intimidation, and removing black mayors and black elected officials from office for a little or nothing here in the state of Georgia under the leadership of Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp, who are now running for governor of the state of Georgia. Atlanta Journal and Constitution, you've seen my videos, I've sent them to you. Why have you not connected the dots, Atlanta Journal and Constitution? After all, you get paid for going out doing investigative reporting. I don't get paid, but I care enough as a retired military veteran to travel to Madison, Florida, to show you that the Madison, Florida 9 was brought up on bogus charges. Many of them was found not guilty. Some plea bargained because they was under so much stress. The same thing in Quitman, Georgia, with the Quitman 10+2 and Miss Lula Smart. You know about this. And if you know about this, Atlanta Journal and Constitution, why have you not connected the dots from Madison, Florida, to the Quitman 10+2, the Lula Smart trial? Her first trial was a mistrial. Her second trial, a mistrial. Her third trial, they dropped all charges against her after 4 years, and eventually they dropped all charges against all of these black, outstanding, highly professional black people in Brooks County, Georgia. Why did you fail to publish Madison, Florida, the Quitman 10+2, and let's go to one more, Meigs, Georgia, with Linda Harris, who they've gotten rid of her. She violated no real law, but she is a victim of that same pattern and practice that the Madison 9, the Quitman 10+2, Lula Smart went through. And we watched the white power structure in Thomas County, along with black Uncle Toms and Aunt Janes, remove that mayor from office with corrupt lawyers and judges that need to be investigated, along with members of law enforcement, in the removal of that elected black official. So Atlanta Journal and Constitution, I say again to you, why have you failed to connect the dots and publish in your newspaper for all the people of Georgia to see what's going on, so our active duty, disabled, retired military veterans and others can see what they are fighting for on foreign battlefields, especially if they're from the black experience? Yes, I will say again in concluding, why didn't you connect the dots from Madison, Florida, to the Quitman 10+2 in Brooks County, to Meigs, Georgia, with Linda Harris, who they removed from office, and it was a charade? Wait a minute, let me add one more for you, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And what about Lumpkin, Georgia, with Mayor Charles Gibson? Oh, he was called a nigger by a sitting white councilman by the name of Debbie Stone. Why, Atlanta Journal and Constitution, did you fail to connect the dots from Madison, Florida, to Quitman, Georgia, Brooks County, to Meigs, Georgia, to Lumpkin, Georgia? And since I skipped one, let me go back and get Camilla, Georgia, with Rufus Davis. I interviewed Rufus Davis in Macon with Mayor Ann Whippaloo and with Warrenton Mayor George Ivey. But I don't want you to mess with those yet. I'm saving them for something else. So what are you waiting on, Atlanta Journal and Constitution? If you believe in freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and you know that it's all been documented. Now look, don't call me, Atlanta Journal and Constitution. Don't call me to interview me. Call me or email me at Boston G.B.R. and ask for the list of all these 18 to 30 cities that this same pattern and practice is being done and thrust upon black people, black voters, black elected officials, and you, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, refuse, along with MSNBC, even Al Sharpton, Morning Joe, y'all will not connect the dots like I have done. Madison, Florida, Meggs, Lumpkin, Camilla, and that's enough. I'm going to stop right there because I got to hit CNN, and I'm going to make this so clear that even the people in North Korea, even the citizens in the Soviet Union, even the people in China, Pakistan, Iran, and Tajikistan will understand that freedom of the press in America just may not be so free at all. And we have proven that. I don't need you to get me on your cameras to interview me. You can call me and I will give you the links of all this on Boston G.B.R. YouTube channel. Just Google newly elected black mayors and their mistreatment and removed from office in the state of Georgia under Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp. And I'm telling you, if you really cared about voting rights, there is no way that you could ignore all these communities with this November election coming up, not to mention these special elections. But apparently, you do not respect the active duty now serving on foreign battlefields, some of them you don't even know about, the disabled veterans who have been hurt, maimed, and not to mention the ones that was killed, and the parents who are elected to public office is catching hell on the backside of heaven. Once again, this is the Getto Free Press. I'm speaking like this because we have an election coming up, and we hear these liars in the news media saying they love freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and your right to vote. But they will not connect the dots. And let me say this in closing. A 80-some-year-old woman in Morven, Georgia, following what they did to the Equipment 10+2, says she would never, ever vote again. That's in Morven, Georgia. You don't have to take my word for it. I can lead you to Miss Marie. That's her cousin. She will take you to their house so you can interview her. This is not no game that I'm playing. I served this country and took on an oath and an obligation to defend this country from both foreign and domestic enemies. And I intend to do that. If I was foolish enough to go willing to put my life on the line for this country and foreign nations of the world, then don't you think I have enough sense, just like many other veterans, well, the ones who have a punked out under pressure, to stand up for my own mama, my own daddy, sister and brother, neighbor down the street, and my enemies across the city? Don't I have a responsibility? And Atlanta Journal-Constitution, do you have a responsibility by your license hanging on the wall to ignore the suffering black people in Madison, Florida, known as the Madison 9? Do you know that when the Equipment 10 4-year ordeal was over and Lula Smart was found not guilty, the state of Georgia, after 4 years, came back and dropped all 119 to 200 charges against those 12 outstanding citizens, but not the 4 Latasha Head died from the stress the state of Georgia and Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp thrust upon them with all these bogus voter fraud charges. It's a disgrace to the news media, to our form of government, and to our black Congressional Black Caucus, to the Congress. It's a disgrace that we do not enforce what you all have already been notified of. And you think it's going to go away. It's not. Now there's many social media guys like myself. They're bubbling up everywhere now. They no longer look forward to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution or CBS and NBC and CBS. They are doing it for themselves. And the people are being informed without the traditional mainstream news media, because it is now being proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that the news media that we have, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, is the best news money can buy. Have a nice day. To get to Free Press with social media network, I do what I do because it must be done. Just remember, St. John 8:32 says, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set and make you free. And so if you don't get freedom, citizens in Georgia, you will never, ever be free. And there are those behind the curtain, like in the Wizard of Oz, pulling the strings and closing the curtains. And you only get what they want you to know. And isn't it strange how they put all these opinions on TV? All these people get on like they're some type of professional, and they give their opinion. But where and when will you call everyday common folk and let them give their opinion so they can let the world know the truth? After all, they're the one that's out there, and they know the pain that they are feeling from a wicked, crooked judicial system. The district attorneys is crooked. The judges are crooked. Some of the attorneys are crooked. And it's time now that we start calling their names. Because everybody that wear a black robe does not stand for justice. The Georgia Bar Association, you too are on the line. Judicial circuits across the state of Georgia, you're on the line now. People in prison now are calling social media and doing interviews. It's filling up the internet. If you don't believe it, Google it. All these lies and wicked and hateful people are being exposed. And I'm not doing it, but I am assisting others in doing it because I love the truth seeker and I love the truth maker. And Jesus said, if you believe the Bible, and if you don't matter, because karma will get you. Matthew 24:35 says, heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will stand forever. That's why I speak the truth, because when I'm gone, God gonna raise up another child that gonna continue to say the same thing that I'm saying today, and that is this. Atlanta Journal and Constitution, why have you not connected dots with just the ones I mentioned? I'm not talking about the others that I'm going to highlight in a minute. Where are you on the issues, Atlanta Journal and Constitution?